I'm not giving up.
I am selling the building.
The final season of FX's The Bear.
The restaurant is flooded.
Everything's either going to be okay.
No, stop!
Or not.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned, but we have each other.
FX's The Bear, the final season. All episodes now streaming on Disney+.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
It's More Money with leading economist Steve Moore. Now, here's your host, Steve Moore.
Yes, folks, that is the More Money theme song. This is economist Steve Moore. So thrilled to be in front of this microphone. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It is really the highlight of my weekend. I know it's the highlight of your week to be able to listen to the More Money show. But thanks so much for joining. Our ratings are very good, thanks to people like you who care about our country and want to be educated about economics and politics and finance. And we're going to start the show right off with my good friend Steve Forbes. Steve Forbes is the co-founder of Unleash Prosperity with Larry Kudlow and Art Laffer. He, of course, is the author of a great book that everybody should get about inflation and why it's bad and how to solve it. And, of course, he was the presidential candidate for the candidate under the Republican Party for both in, 1996 and 2000, I believe it was, and changed the country with his incredible platform of reform in the country. So, Steve Forbes, thanks for joining.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Boy, is there a lot to talk about.
Still reveling in what the Knicks did. I know it's old news. It's old news, but it's something that's going to comfort us for a long time to come. So,
well, you know my line on this, Steve Forbes, which is that New York finally beat Texas in something. So, anyways, congratulations. I was actually in New York when they had the parade, and that was a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. So, I want to get right down to it.
You might say the Knick victory spurs us on to greater things.
Well, I think maybe next year the Spurs might get their revenge. But it was a great series, and it was a great thing to see New York back in the winning column. By the way, while we're on that subject, one thing that New York is not on a winning strategy right now is in the candidate and the people that they're electing to office, Steve. I mean, I think the whole country is aghast at what has happened in New York City with a whole string of I don't know what you call them. I call them just socialists. They like to call themselves democratic socialists. I don't know what the difference between a socialist and a democratic socialist is, but the Eugene Debs, for those who are historians, know that Eugene Debs ran for president many times at the start of the 20th century as a socialist. And so what's going on? Why is this party, why is New York City turning so far to the left? And is this indicative of the Democratic Party around the country?
Well, by the way, we're talking about Eugene Debs. He was arrested in World War I for opposing the war by Woodrow Wilson, who had a ton of political prisoners. And Debs ran for president in 1920 and got over 1 million votes running from a penitentiary in Atlanta.
I did not know that. I did not know. By the way, I was against World War I, so I don't necessarily disagree with him protesting.
It's okay. So was Joe Biden.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, New York, we forget, thanks to the great mayoralties of people like Rudy Giuliani. New York has been traditionally very, very much of a leftist city. After World War II, talking about history, back in 1948,
we got him back.
Former Vice President Henry Wallace ran for president on the Progressive Party platform, dominated by communists. That's well documented. Communists were very well organized. They nearly took over many of our unions. Ronald Reagan had to carry a pistol around when he was head of the Screen Actors Guild because of communist threats. Anyway, Wallace did very poorly, but the one place he got a lot of votes was New York City.
Wow.
So he got 15% of the vote, got less than 0.5% in the rest of the country. So New York's had that tradition.
So hold on. Let me just stop you there for 1 second.
Because the other thing,
Steve, hold on, Steve, hold on 1 second. So this is your important point you're making, and I'm a student of American history, so I love this. So Wallace had been the vice president, and then he got dumped by FDR, right, and picked Harry Truman in 1944. Is that right?
That's right. He was vice president from 1941 to 45. Okay. And
prior to that, it had been Henry Wallace, right?
Henry Wallace had been vice president, and then party leaders realized Roosevelt was in very bad health. And whoever was going to be VP was going to be the next president.
Well, I just mentioned all that, Steve, because thank God that Harry Truman was president, not Henry Wallace.
Because there's a book that came out about a year ago, a biography of Wallace. Wallace almost won that convention. There was almost a stampede. If he had become president, it would have been disasters. The Cold War would have been over. Stalin would have dominated Europe. Disaster. But anyway, in terms of New York City, one thing to keep in mind is that the turnout was pathetic. Some districts as low as 7% in a primary.
Really? I didn't know that.
And one of the things about, like the communists in the late 40s, early 50s, was they were well organized. They could turn out a crowd. If you wanted a crowd of 10,000, they would get them out.
They were there.
These people are well organized. They go door to door. And so they're now dominating the agenda of the Democrat Party. And the proof of it is that reliable weather vane, Governor Newsom of California, who had been trying to derail the California wealth tax by paying off the unions. Now he's for a national wealth tax. So they're setting the agenda, which puts an onus on us who are Republicans to come up with a pro-growth platform starting right now. More tax cuts and indexing capital gains and things like that, and emphasizing the working people who already benefited from last year's tax cut, and saying like those late night TV commercials, but wait, there's more. And no pun intended, but there's more, and more tax cuts are coming, and that's what we have to do. And the other thing we got to do, because we're going to get slammed on it, is health care. They're going to say, people are getting turned down more and more by insurance companies. We got to be having go on offense. We got to stop this defensive mode we're in which gets to reconciliation bills, which you've been talking about and Larry's been talking about. I don't know why they call them reconciliation bills. It sounds like a marriage thing, but call it a Save America bill, and put that stuff in. Even if it doesn't pass, you give our people talking points in November. Elect us, and this good stuff will happen.
Well, what worries me, Steve, is that I've been saying this for a couple of months, and I'm more afraid of it today than I was, a couple of months ago. I really believe right now all the wind is behind AOC. I think AOC, I would have never said this a couple of years ago, I think AOC could be the Democratic nominee for president. I mean, she's a wacko, she's attractive, she's well spoken when she has a script, and she is a great organizer. It makes me cringe to think about, but remember, Bernie Sanders almost won the nomination in 2020, when the party elders said it's not going to be Bernie Sanders, we're going to have to pick Joe Biden instead, and then they let Bernie write the agenda. But how do you see this turning out?
Well, you hit a good point. When they allowed Bernie Sanders to write the platform, everyone thought, including me, oh, that's just a cynical thing. Nobody pays attention to platforms anyway, so let Bernie write it and go forward. Well, he didn't just write it. It became gospel for the far left, and they whipped that agenda in line. So in terms of, but I don't think AOC is going to be it. She went to Davos and to talk about foreign policy, and it was an embarrassment.
It was. I remember.
And what that tells you is, if you think you're going to go over there to start preening for showing your credentials to be the next commander in chief, you would do some briefs on foreign policy. She hardly knew what Taiwan was. and she stumbled all over the place.
But the problem, Steve, is that's not disqualifying. Hold on, Steve Forbes. Can I hold you over for one more segment?
Sure.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break. This is the More Money Show, MOORE Money Show, and thanks for joining us. And we'll be right back with the great Steve Forbes.
It's More Money with leading economist Steve Moore.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Growing a successful business has never been easy. But whether you're navigating a complex industry or trying to reinvent one, our breadth of banking experts are here to collaborate on market-proven solutions. At KeyBank, we're built to grow with your changing needs because we're not just here for the business you are now, we're here for the business you'll become. Reimagine business as usual. KeyBank opens doors. Learn more at key.com/B2B.
Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, giving you even more specialized support than ever before. Like access to the trade desk, our team of passionate traders ready to tackle anything from the most complex trading questions to a simple strategy gut check. Need assistance? No problem. Get 24/7 professional answers and live help, and access support by phone, email, and in-platform chat. That's how Schwab is here for you, to help you trade brilliantly. Learn more at schwab.com/trading.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
It's More Money with leading economist Steve Moore. Now, here's your host, Steve Moore.
We're back, folks. This is the More Money Show. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. By the way, a week from today is the birthday of our the greatest country on earth, of course, the United States of America. I don't know how many of these democratic socialists believe that to be true, but I know all of you do. I don't think there's any possible rival to the United States of America, this great country of ours. Steve, I wanted to ask, I'm on with, of course, Steve Forbes, one of the great spokesman for economic growth, good tax policy, good healthcare policy, good Social Security policy. He has really led the way. And I wanted to, Steve, change directions a little bit. You and I were talking a few weeks ago, and you were telling me the story of your family, the Forbes family, which is an amazing story of how, was it your grandfather or great-grandfather who started the business?
It was Steve? One of 10 children, number 6 out of 10. Great school education, but he had dreams and ambitions, and he always wanted to be a business writer. How that came about, don't know, but he did. And so he left Scotland, went to South Africa, and then came over here to New York. And I think I told you the story of how he couldn't get a job. And so he offered an editor. He said, I'll work for you for free for a few weeks, show you my worth, and hope you'll hire me. Well, he had no idea whether his free labor would be taken and then tossed out. And but he knew that if he just continued to knock on the doors, he wasn't going to go anywhere. So he exhibited entrepreneurial spirit, got the job, and then used a different name. Went to another. They had tons of newspapers in those days. Went to another editor, used a different name, and got a job there. And one of his happiest moments was when the two editors got into an argument as to who had the best business writer. It was my grandfather in both cases. So that's part and parcel of what makes this country so great. And you hit on something very important. Sadly, the far left does not like this country. They want to upend it and turn it into a socialist swamp, communist swamp, and we know where that leads. And so this country has shown an amazing ability for 250 years, for all of our flaws, we're human, is that we can take people from all parts of the world and they can really revel in their ancestry, but become totally American. Their kids become totally American in a generation, and no other country can do that. We have pride in where you came from, but you understand America. And let's use a word that we're not supposed to these days: land of opportunity, melting pot, and really we. And by the way, Steve, one quick thing.
Yes.
One of the good things about this World Cup is how many hundreds of thousands of visitors realize that what they've been reading about this country in their media back home, totally untrue, and how much our standard of living is higher than what you have in Europe and elsewhere.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Mississippi is practically richer than London now or Paris. It's unbelievable.
And Mississippi is on a level or higher level than Great Britain. Once Great Britain.
It's amazing. Incredible.
It's astonishing.
Going back to your family, because I just think it's an amazing story. So wait, was this your father or your grandfather?
My grandfather.
Grandfather. So you told me that during the Depression, when businesses failed, that Forbes almost went out of business.
It did. When your advertising goes down 80%, you're in trouble. But he kept it alive through years. He did a lot of freelancing. He was also a syndicated columnist for the Hearst newspapers. That helped, and instituted some cuts. What he did was he instituted every fourth week you didn't get paid, and that was an equivalent of a 25% pay cut, which sounds horrible, but people were happy to have a job.
Right.
So he kept people employed. And the other thing he did was he, paid himself, but he never cashed the checks. He'd write the check, pay the tax, throw the check in the safe. And years later, when he turned things around, another proud moment was being able to cash all those checks.
It's amazing.
So great success, then adversity, and then success again. Again, life's never smooth, but in this country, contrary to what Scott Fitzgerald, the novelist, said, there are always second and third acts.
So true. And that's why I love that story, because it's the story of so many successful businesses. When people talk about, these greedy people got rich and they have no way. I can't tell you how many members of our organization who not today run very successful companies will say, boy, we were a month away from being out of business. And they just kept putting the money into the business and kept, praying that it would turn around. It's not easy running a business.
No, it isn't. And everyone now talks about the near trillionaire Elon Musk. You want to take his money away. They forget that when he started SpaceX, he was very successful with PayPal and plowed that money into SpaceX and got investors. But he nearly went bust a couple of times because his first 4 rockets blew up.
I know.
4 failures. And he was almost out. But thank God he persisted, because now our rocketry, that whole area, we're ahead of the rest of the world, head of NASA, head of Russia, head of China. I'm glad Elon Musk, the immigrant's on our side.
So, Steve Forbes, 9 of the 10 richest people in the world are here in the United States of America, which is something I don't want to denigrate wealth. We should celebrate it. I mean, there's a story that the sort of rule of thumb that 90% of the gains from an entrepreneur and inventor go to the people who use it or the people who work for the company. So the fact that Elon Musk has $1 trillion, that means he's benefited the rest of us by $9 trillion.
Yes. Well, how many thousands of millionaires did he create with this crazy IPO he did?
Yeah.
Even those who didn't get millions got hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the other thing to keep in mind is, one, is you need capital to grow and invest. But also, most of that is really in the form of valuations in the marketplace. It's not piles of gold sitting around. No. And the idea you can just go in there and scoop it up. If you have a bad economy and bad regulations and taxes, those numbers disappear. Bye-bye wealth.
Well, capitalism is what makes us rich, folks, and Steve Forbes is the best advocate for that in the country. Steve, thanks for coming on. This is the More Money Show, folks, and we'll be right back. We'll be taking your calls, by the way, in the second half of the hour at 800-848-9222, because I want to hear from you. Do you like the Democrat Socialists? I don't.
El 2026 FIFA World Cup Meal llegó a McDonald's con 9 vasos legendarios. En el lineup tenemos Christian CP10 Pulisic, David Beckham, Lamine The Dream Yamal, Ronaldinho El Mago, Monsieur Titi Henry, Son Salih Heung-min, Alfonso Fonsi Davis, Santi Bebote Jiménez y en la portería el que no necesita apodo, Grimes.
Llévate uno de 9 vasos legendarios con el FIFA World Cup Meal. En McDonald's participantes solo por tiempo limitado, hasta agotar existencias.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Hey guys, today I'm interviewing my cat about his perfect bistro food. Percy, you seem to be a big Perfect Bistro fan. Care to comment? Totally. What do you like about it? You love the high-quality ingredients? And the delicious flavors, of course. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Listen to Percy, guys. Visit perfectbistro.com to try it for your cat.
At Ollie, we've got wellness down to a science. From PMS to pregnancy to menopause, our women's wellness line offers science-backed support for every stage. No judgment, no shame, none of the stigma. Just supplements designed to meet you wherever you're at. Ollie, choose science over shame. Find support at a retailer near you or on ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Here's a little tune to help you remember. Same drive, different day. Don't you wish you were getting away? Pack your bags and come on through. Texas, Ohio, Alaska, we're up there too. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Well, I hope you like my little song. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
It's More Money with leading economist Steve Moore. Now, here's your host, Steve Moore.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show. I'm getting excited because we are 1 week away from the 250th birthday of this great country, and the greatest country on earth, no question about that. And so one of the people I've has been a friend of mine for 25 years and has a new book out that is very relevant to American success about how people can get rich in this country. Chris Ullman, who is with Carlyle Group, has a new book out, just came out recently, called 4 Billionaires and a Parking Attendant, Success Strategies to Get Rich. And I'm going to say that name again for the book because you should get it. 4 Billionaires and a Parking Attendant, Successful Strategies of Getting Rich. So, Chris, first of all, thanks for joining.
Hi, Steve. It is great to be on with you and your listeners. And we've known each other for 40 years, believe it or not.
Now you're just making me feel old. So let's get right into this, Chris, because I'm just fascinated by the new book. And everybody wants to get rich. Can a parking attendant get rich?
Well, it depends on how you define rich. You know, the key with this book is about finding purpose in life. Yes. And then if you find purpose and you focus on things with passion, that should come first. And then the riches will follow. But finding something you're passionate about is most important. And the reason I have the 4 billionaires in there is that they actually have material wealth. the parking attendant is wealthy in spirit.
Right.
He doesn't have a lot of money, but he's probably one of the happiest people I know.
No, this is a critical point. I mean, wealth does not buy happiness. Wealthy, you can be happy and wealthy, but that doesn't. It doesn't. And I am struck by this so many times. For example, when the Hispanic people in my neighborhood do a lot of the yard work and things like that. And I talk to them all the time, and they are always smiling. They're always happy. And meanwhile, people who make 10 times more money are grumpy.
I know, it's amazing. There's actually a lesson in this book about happiness and the relationship to wealth. Is that a lot of the wealthy, material wealth people I know aren't particularly happy, which is why I put the parking attendant in there. There was this juxtaposition. Now, do we need money and to live, to have security, to have healthcare and schooling and food? Of course. But I'm a huge capitalist, so I'm very pro capitalism, and work hard and play by the rules, and which is what makes America great. But there's so much about success, and that's really what this book is about: is how to be successful, however you define it.
Right.
You're a successful economist. I'm a PR guy. My parking lot attendant friend, he was a very good parking lot attendant. He worked hard at it. And so the real takeaway is that if you're humble, if you're open-minded, if you work hard, if you play by the rules, you will succeed in whatever your chosen path is.
So I hate this. I could not agree more. I think you're exactly right. And this is why I've always hated this idea of dead-end jobs. Young people shouldn't go to these dead-end jobs. There is no such thing as a dead-end job. The only dead end is when you're not working at all, when you're sitting at home watching TV or playing video games. And there is an economic ladder of success. And success doesn't mean being a millionaire or a billionaire. It means finding meaning in your life and being a contributor to society.
Absolutely. And one of the main reasons I wrote this book is because I've been so blessed to have worked with some of the most successful people in the world, with David Rubenstein, with Adina Friedman, who's the CEO of NASDAQ, with Glenn Youngkin, the recent governor of Virginia, with Mitch Daniels and John Kasich, and just these amazing people. And to be around people and who are so focused and driven. In the book, I couch it as they have an it. And their it isn't necessarily making money. It is passion for something. So if any of your listeners, if they truly want to be rich, they must find their it first. They must find the passion, work hard, and then that will lead to material success over time.
Now, look, when I grew up, I wanted to be a pro football quarterback. That didn't turn out so well for me. So my point is, sometimes people have dreams that obviously you're not going to achieve. So kind of what do you mean by, because, everybody wants to be a movie star or a football quarterback, but only a very few of us are going to achieve that kind of a dream.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a firm believer in having the dream. I'm also hyper pragmatic. If there's a young person who says, I want to be a Hollywood movie star, great. I'm not going to tell a 22-year-old to not do it. I say, go to Hollywood, work hard, and have a backup plan just in case.
Right.
I've become, very successful, corporate communications person. And, it really wasn't my objective necessarily. My objective was to go to work every day, work for people I liked, work hard, learn, grow, and then seize opportunity. And it's interesting. You recently had Phil Gramm, the senator from Texas, on. There's a lesson in this book about Phil Gramm and Arthur Levitt, who was a Democrat, and how they worked together to build bridges. And that we need more of that today. So that's a spirit. So they used their respect for each other, their love of Labrador retrievers, believe it or not, they both had labs, as almost like a lubricant to find the humanity in each other. And then that enabled them to work together constructively for America, for the Securities and Exchange Commission, where Arthur was the chairman, for Phil Gramm when he was chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, and they got a lot done. That is what we need. And so those are the types of lessons in this book. You know, I tell young people, read this book. It will make a radical impact on your life. And it's not because I'm a genius. It's because I've worked with these amazing people. Yes. I'm observant and I'm a good storyteller. So every lesson has an anecdote in it.
That's what we need. It's inspiring. And one of the lessons I've taken from your writings is that, and this is something I very much believe in, and not to say I've been so successful in my career. I've been blessed in my career. I've always really been lucky that I've always loved what I do. But one of the things I sort of discovered early in life, no matter what your job is, if you're a parking attendant, or by the way, I was a parking attendant at one point, or if you're bagging groceries or whatever it might be the best at it. You know, I kind of learned that at the beginning. You know, I was working side by side, 8 people. And I'm going to be the best bag packer. I'm going to be the best parking attendant, because then you get noticed and your boss said, hey, you get a job, you get elevated. Competition is a good thing, but just sit there. I don't want to do this job, but do it as well as you can. Be great at it.
That is exactly it. And, that's how David Rubenstein built an investment firm that manages $500 billion.
Wow.
Is that he had an it. He said, I think I can build something. And then every day he was grinding away, and he was indefatigable, just traveling all around the world. He brought in very talented people who were investors and people who could manage a growing firm. And, but he wasn't pompous then, and he's not pompous today. He just did the work. And then the fruits will flow from that. David has long said, and I reference this in the book, that if you seek money, then you've got your eyes on the wrong site. But if you seek purpose, money will come from that. And listen, again, I'm a capitalist. I think, if someone can own a beach house because they worked hard, that's great. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Look, one of the lessons that I sort of took from this too is, the old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And, because people fail. Some of our greatest business people have failed. I've started 3 companies. The first 2 failed. The third one did pretty well. But just, you've got to keep trying and learn from your failures.
Oh yeah. In investing, we make mistakes all the time. You think you buy a great company and it goes bankrupt, but you learn from it, you move on, and hopefully you'll do better next time. And, it's that spirit, that's why, in life, the way I communicate is you focus on a why, then a how, and then a what. But so much of it is the how. Like, if you are humble, if you are grateful, if you are open-minded and you work hard, then you will learn from other people, and you won't repeat your mistakes. You'll keep growing. That's why the humility and the open-mindedness and curiosity is so important.
Yep. Well, that's Chris Ullman, folks. Chris Ullman's new book is 4 Billionaires and a Parking Attendant. And get it for your kids. Get it for your kids or your grandkids who are just starting their working career. It's a formula for economic success. Chris, all the best to you. Chris Ullman, fantastic job.
Thank
and
you,
folks,
Steve.
when we get back, I'll take your questions. I'm going to take your calls because I want to hear what you think about this Democratic Socialist takeover of the one of our 2 parties, the Democratic Party. Our number 800-848-9222 is the More Money Hotline. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health Premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One.
Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Want to elevate your travel experience? Here's how. With a Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card, you can relax before your flight in the Delta Sky Club with up to 15 visits per medallion year. And now through July 15th, 2026, you can earn up to 125,000 bonus miles, so you're closer to your next adventure. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. Check out the new design at www.delta.com/Spotify. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
It's More Money with leading economist Steve Moore. It's More Money with leading economist Steve Moore. Now, here's your host, Steve Moore.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show. By the way, next Saturday is the 4th of July, so we will have a special show on the 4th of July, really celebrating this great, great country of ours, and with a very patriotic theme of the amazing things that happened when our founding fathers put together the greatest country in the history of civilization. We are, by the way, there are about 6 to 7 billion people on the planet. 350 million of us live in the United States of America. So that means 19 out of 20 people do not live in the U.S. So we have won by being born in this country, or I know many people listen to the show came to this country voluntarily and became citizens. We've won the lottery of life. I mean, to be in this country that is free and prosperous is the ultimate gift. And so we should feel very lucky in that. I was reading, we had in our hotline, by the way, I hope everybody's getting the hotline. If you're not getting our hotline, go to unleashprosperity.com and sign up. It's free. It goes out to a couple 100,000 people every morning, and you can read it 5 or 6 minutes. It tells you what's going on with the economy, what's going on in politics. And one of our items this week was that only 1 out of 3 Democratic voters say that they're very proud to call themselves an American. 1 out of 3. I think the number was 34%. I find that startling and disheartening. I mean, why are you not proud of America? I mean, look, we have stains in our past, of course, slavery and so on. Sometimes this country doesn't always do the right thing. You might not have liked the bombing of Iran or whatever it might be, but how can you not be proud of being an American? And yet, I think part of it is our schooling. Our schools are not teaching young people the greatness of America. So anyway, we have one line open, by the way, at 1-800-848-9222. I want to ask you about patriotism. I want to ask you also about what's going on with the Democratic Party, why they've turned so far to the left, because I'm disturbed about both of those things. Let's start with Steve in New Jersey. Steve, what do you got for us?
Hey, Steve. Steve, one of the problems with what's going on in the Democratic Party is our side doesn't call it out. So here it goes. We allow them to say they're Democratic Socialists of America. No, they're terrorists supporting communist sympathizers. That's what they are. And I know that's a mouthful. That's why people on talk radio like you in the media need to explain that, because a lot of people don't understand that. All right. So it's more time spent doing that and making them understand this. Their ultimate goal is to fundamentally transfer this country into something that was not intended 250 years ago. These people running the Democratic Party now are out for power and control, and they're in that respect, they're evil people. They're very evil people. Well, they're not misguided. Okay. They're not crazy. Go ahead. All
right, Steve, I'm going to cut you off because I don't like to get into people's motive. I don't like to call people evil, but I agree with fundamentally what you're saying, that they're not Democratic Socialists. Many of them are communists. They really are. They are against the free enterprise system. They want to confiscate wealth. They want to get rid of the Pentagon. They want to get rid of police. By the way, this is the Democrat socialist agenda, folks. I'm not making this up, and I'm not exaggerating. This is what they say they want to do. They want to take money away from evil corporations. Well, if you don't have corporations, you don't have businesses, folks. You don't have jobs. If you don't have profits, you don't have jobs. But they want to take that all away, so that would short circuit and completely derail the American economy, which is the richest in the world. I'm going to read a quick quote from one of my heroes, Ayn Rand. I'm very libertarian. I want small government. I want government as far away from influencing my life as possible. I want safety. I want security. I want schools. But I don't think the government should be involved in much else besides that. But this is Ayn Rand, who, as you know, came to America. I think she was Russian. But here is what she said. She is, of course, was the author of many great books, including Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. Okay, so here is what she said. I can say, not as a patriotic bromide, but with full knowledge of the necessary metaphysical, epistemological, ethical, political, and aesthetic roots, that the United States of America is the greatest, the noblest, and its original founding principles, the only moral country in the history of the world. That comes from Ayn Rand, someone who believes that we should have very limited government. I would say she's a libertarian. But let's see. We got one more on the line. We got Richard in Bayshore. Are you with us, Richard?
Hi, Steve. Listen,
Go ahead.
Think back to the beginning of the Obama administration. There was a definite measurable rise in anti-Semitic
yes.
Right, if you remember that. And if you recall, Obama, as part of his healthcare thing, he bashed doctors, he bashed corporatists, he bashed CEOs, he bashed the successful. And I think a lot of ignorant people at that time conflated, used it as an easy way to conflate Jews with the successful. And I think this anti-Semitism thing has really been on the roll for like 16 years now. It's not a new thing.
So, Mike, Richard, really good point. I'm very worried about this when we attack various groups. We are a melting pot out of many one, and it's Jews and Palestinians and Christians, and the idea of picking out a group and hating them. I just find that so offensive and anti-American. We're going to try to squeeze in really quickly, Mike in St. James.
Hello, thank you. This is a sort of a financial question.
Yes.
If the new governor in November beats Hochul, could he remove the mayor on the grounds that his policies could bankrupt the city?
Wow, that is a really good question, Mike. I'm going to look into that because look, I do think that that Mandami is going to bankrupt the city, and I think it's a very dangerous agenda for the city, for the state, and for our country. I don't know if this governor could override but I do think what the governor could do is say, look, we're going to come in as an emergency. We're going to sort of take over the governing of this city because the city is part of the state. And I don't think that would be such a terrible thing, frankly. I think it's a very dangerous situation. I laughed when I read this headline in one of the papers the other day in New York that said, "Oh, nobody's paying their rent now in New York City. Nobody can figure out why they're not paying the rent." Well, maybe if you tell people they don't have to pay the rent and they're never going to be evicted, people won't going to pay their rent. I mean, ideas have consequences, folks, and bad ideas have bad consequences as well. Great call. I am going to end this show with one last quote from history that I love, which is, of course, from the great Patrick Henry. And Patrick Henry was the one who basically said, "Give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death." And this was what our founding fathers believed, that they were going to form a new union that was based on freedom, free enterprise, liberty, religious freedom, economic liberty. And look at us today, the richest, greatest country on this planet. It did not happen by accident. And I have to say, I feel so blessed to be part of this country, to think 250 years ago, the greatest assembly of men ever in the history of the world came to Philadelphia to develop a constitution for a country that has survived and flourished for 250 years. I hope you agree with me. We'll be having our 4th of July special next week. I hope you'll join. I know it's going to be 4th of July. I know you'll be at picnics, but if you've got your car, you're driving or you've got your iPod, listen to the show because we're going to have a great, very patriotic message for you on our 250th anniversary. I'm told we're out of time, folks. I mean, the time flies when you're having fun, but I'm so, I feel blessed to be an American. I feel blessed to be in front of this microphone every week to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back, same bat time, same bat channel on The More Money Show.
Meet the new iSIMS, the single talent acquisition platform that's fully future-ready. It works wherever and however you hire, with insights no one else offers. One solution that fits seamlessly into your existing tech stack, which is why IT and HR leaders trust it. With the best of enterprise-grade software and AI, iSIMS helps you identify and secure the right talent faster. iSIMS, powering exceptional hiring. Learn more at isims.com.
Are you one of those media strategy people clicking through slides, scrolling spreadsheets? Yes? Good. This is for you. Because on Spotify, there's an audience that's different, locked in, loyal, invested. They're called fans. Fans don't just listen to music, they feel seen by it, like it belongs to them. So when your brand shows up on Spotify, that's who you're talking to. And you're right next to artists like me, Lizzo. So, are you ready to talk to fans? Spotify advertising. You're among fans.